I realized that in my culture, we openly guilt and shame people. Like we tell them, like, do you not have any shame or guilt? And it is something that is spoken so, I see like 4 words, so openly. What I found the difference in between growing up back home in Nepal and then like being in a Western country for a while is that while guilt and shame is done explicitly back home, it is done implicitly here. Because people will not come to you and say, hey, do you not have any guilt? Do you not have any shame? You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be guilty and ashamed of yourself. Like, people won't say that here, but then people will say that back home. At least how and where I was raised. And I was speaking to one of my family members yesterday, and I spoke to them about, it's okay, like you shouldn't feel like guilt and shame. Like, forgive yourself. Like, I forgive you. Like, you should forgive yourself, and just think about like what kind of lesson do you need to learn from this. And I realized later that it was overwhelming for them, because I mean, even like here, like, it doesn't matter, but when we have this deep internal guilt and shame, like, it doesn't matter what people from the outside say to you. Like, if they, like, even if they say beautiful words, you will still hear them as guilt and shame. So what I have come to realize about these negative feelings of guilt and shame is that these are not helpful feelings. These are all feelings that makes you stuck. So the sooner you can get rid of them from your mindset, from your thoughts, like, the sooner you progress in life. And then second is that it's all the internal work. When you have deep guilt and shame, like, even though people may speak to you in a loving way, you will not receive that because you have that guilt and shame internal to you. So, but if you don't have that, even though people try to guilt and shame you, you don't receive that. So as much as we like to think, at least in my culture, like, I know my parents used to say a lot, is like, what would people think, right? But it's not people, it's you. What would you think? And so at the end of the day, it's all about, like, what do I think? And the sooner we can get rid of like guilt and shame out of our system, the sooner we learn the lessons that we're supposed to learn as soul lessons, the sooner we grow and we step into 5th dimensional consciousness, we become better human beings. And so if you're carrying any guilt and shame with you, like, think about like where that comes from, and probably comes from our families, because that's how they lived, and that's the mindset that imposed on us, which is why it's a generational trauma. And then how you can get rid of them, because once you do that, people get to see different. My family gets to see different. And it's their process to grow and learn from that. But once you model something different, then only people around you can see that there is something different that can exist. So get rid of those guilt and shame. It's okay to do that. It's okay to forgive yourself. That's what matters at the end of the day. Forgive yourself and move on from guilt and shame. And just think about what did I learn? How can I grow from this? And that's when the beauty of life starts.